Hello, my name is David Wells and I am working with Amy Cameron to support catechists, volunteers, ministers and missionaries all across Hexham and Newcastle Diocese with 4 very short, humble little videos to accompany our Advent journey. In week 1, I suggested that whilst we continue with the good work that we're doing and we continue to strive, we keep one eye open, we keep watch for the possibility of something new. We don't become closed. In week 2, I suggested that the church calls us through the readings to repentance, that somehow we have to empty ourselves in order to receive. We have to make space for that new thing that will come to us at Christmas. And in week 3, we are reminded yet again of John the Baptist, but this time we hop over in week 3 of Advent to John's Gospel. And here we hear quite a different conversation. It's fantastic. You have to feel sorry for them a little bit. This is a small delegation sent by the Pharisees to find out who John the Baptist is preaching about and who John the Baptist is. And they turn up with these quizzical, curious questions to find out if John the Baptist is a threat. What I like about this is they're going to meet John speaking a different language. They turn up with a language of qualification and authority and title. You know, are you a prophet? Are you a teacher? Who is this man? The interesting thing is that we often resort to that kind of thinking, don't we? I mean, it's not bad. It's a good thing to seek the authority of a person. But, you know, you noticed in this conversation a slight tension that builds. The interesting thing for me is I've experienced it. I'm sure you have. I remember going to this small little parish hall somewhere in deepest, darkest Cornwall. And there was a small group of catechists there. It was just an evening to be spent with this group. And when I got there, I stood up to lead them. And then I heard this lady near the front, an elderly lady, speaking to the lady next to her. Neither of them could hear very well, so they were shouting at each other. And the lady said to her neighbour, she said, "Who is he?" And her friend sitting next to her, equally as loud, said, "He's David Wells, he's from the Diocese." And she said to her, "Well, is he a priest?" And her friend said, "I don't think so. It doesn't say here that he's a priest." And then she said in reply, this is a great answer, she said, "Well, what are we listening to him for?" You see, because their investment was in the position. That's not a bad thing. We need to trust the people who are speaking to us, right? But John is not going to speak to this delegation in that language. He's not going to speak in terms of title or qualification or authority. He simply uses what sounds like almost prosaic language. He just refers to Jesus as light, the light of the world. That's a strange title, isn't it? Not one you can be compared with. Jesus, the light of the world. Wow, that Jesus comes to testify to the light. You see the clash of languages there. So why is Jesus described here as testifying to the light? Well, there's a number of answers, of course. The first is that light shines where it will. You know, the light of Christ can't be manipulated, it can't be bottled, it can't be sold, it can't be predicted, it can't be organised. The light of Christ shines where Christ shines it. It means expect the light of Christ to crop up in the most unexpected places, right? Nazareth, Galilee, who'd have thought? The second thing I like about the light is that light dispels gloom. Think of John Henry Newman, right? You know, lead kindly light amidst the encircling gloom. That he wrote those words in a time of deep despair, that somehow light comes to us in the midst of darkness and it dispels darkness. The third point I love about light is that fear and anxiety hate to be uncovered. They live in the dark. They live in the hidden places. But, you know, light shines upon our fears, upon our anxieties, and it dispels them. Have you ever noticed how the things you worry about in the middle of the night don't make sense in the light of the morning? And Christ comes to us as the light of the world. That somehow this light shines into our fears and our anxieties and it dispels them. How often does Jesus have to say, courage, you know, do not be afraid. It is I, the light of the world, shining light into the hidden places, into the darkness, into the places of fear and anxiety. I think it was Bick van der Kerkhof's, Ronald Rolheiser quotes Bick van der Kerkhof's, saying that, you know, somehow when we're sad, we can release that with tears. And when we're angry, we can release that with exercise. We can go punch a bag or run for a mile. But when we're afraid, when we're anxious, light dispels those very things. Fear hates to be uncovered. Fear hates to be named. This is why we need to talk to each other and to pray. And then the fourth thing, which I really love about light, is that light and truth are allied to each other, right? In the Gospels, that light clarifies that the truth is the truth. The truth is seen in the light of Christ. These two things dovetail to each other. When you come into the presence of the truth, of the clarity of Christ's light, you can't be fake. Don't try and impress Jesus. Don't try and be popular or fake or say the right things. All you can do in the presence of the light is be truth yourself. Fake doesn't work. Trust me, I've tried it. It's pathetic. And what does Pope Francis say in Gaudete et Exultate? He says, holiness is an encounter between your weakness and the power of God's grace. That when grace enters, when the light and the truth of Christ power its way into our lives, it shines light into our weakness, and then we can become real. We don't have to pretend anymore. We don't have to perform anymore. We can become who God meant us to be. And for Pope Francis, that's the secret to a happy life. Be who you were meant to be. Be who God created. That's the purpose of our life. That is what conversion is, to become fully real. There you go. Jesus Christ as the light, not being described by qualification or authority, but actually by the gift of light. Fabulous. So as we come to the end of this video, just a couple of questions for you. Number one, what aspects of our world desperately need the clarity and the beauty of Christ's light? Where is the darkness that needs dispelling? And number two, the same question but personally. Where do we need light to shine in our lives? Two questions there that help us to prepare for the light of Christ. I'll be back soon. Thanks for listening. Bye.